Welcome back to Grief Inspired. Today we are going to talk about one of the things that everyone should know about grief. We're going to talk about grief, how challenging grief can be, what it can do to us, and then I'm going to tell you what the thing is that everyone should know about grief. Welcome back to Grief Inspired. I want to invite you guys to please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. 60% of the people who watch my videos have not yet subscribed. I want to learn more about how to make great videos that are going to help you. More people can gain access and learn how to move forward with their grief and learn how to actually live with their loss. So when we start thinking about grief and what everyone should know about grief, there's one thing that I want to talk about today. And I want to start by saying most of us, when loss strikes, even if we had a sense of that we knew it was going to happen, maybe a loved one was sick, or we had some indication that death was coming, we think we can prepare. We call that anticipatory grief. None of us are really ready. So if you're in a situation where you've lost someone suddenly, or you've lost someone that maybe you knew the loss was coming, I think the takeaway is that that loss is equally devastating and that many of us don't really know what to do. We're not prepared. It's kind of bigger and more overwhelming than most of us think. And so if that's how things show up for you, if you were a little bit like some people have said that the carpet has been ripped out from underneath them, if that's how you feel in relation to your grief, please drop a comment below so that I know that. And if you have a different way of describing that initial jolt when you find out your loved one has died, or once you realize that they've died and that this is now your new reality, let me know how that was for you. So one of the things about grief is that it can be quite overwhelming. Grief can be overwhelming because there are big emotions that maybe we haven't experienced before. Sometimes these emotions can happen at the same time. So we can be happy that something has happened, that we've had this person in our life, but super sad at the same time that we're gone because we miss them so much. There can be dual emotions. We can be incredibly sad that they are gone, but we can be angry at them for leaving us at the same time. So there's these dual emotions that happen. We can have overwhelming thoughts, things that happen that go through our head over and over again. We can be lost and wondering, who am I? And wondering what's going to come next for us because we don't know how to live in a world where our loved one is not in it. And so that's why I want to talk a little bit about how, it really does. It affects our identity. It shakes our sense of self. For me, I lost my son and I didn't know that that was going to happen, even though the doctors were telling me. We were in the NICU for 42 days. And I saw other mothers say goodbye to their sons while we were there. But even though that was the case, I never really thought that loss like that was going to affect me. Sometimes we think that these are the things that happen to other people that don't necessarily happen to us. But it did happen to me. And I walked out of that hospital not knowing what was going to come next in my life. I didn't know how to be anything than the mother that I was, because everything about my life for the past 6 months, for the past year, for the past 5 years probably was about figuring out how I could be a mother. And that was all I wanted. And then suddenly I'm leaving the hospital, a mother without a child. So I didn't know what was going to happen next. And I didn't know how to think of myself as a mother whose baby died. And so if you've lost someone that you love, maybe you've lost a spouse. And especially when I talk to spouses, right? You guys are a couple. And if you've been together 20, 30, 40 years, to suddenly not have your spouse with you, whether it be just physically or even to think about them, right? You say your names together. When people refer to you as a couple, they identify both of you. But now suddenly when your spouse is gone, here you are, I'm just me. Trying to unravel what that means for you and what that means for your life moving forward is no small feat. If you are a child who has lost a parent, you're not used to a world where your parents aren't in it. I lost my dad a year and a half ago. I didn't know what a world was going to be like without him in it. When I realized that I can't pick up the phone and call him and share something with him. When I can't go visit him. When I can't enjoy the Pitzel cookies that he makes or the caramels that he makes that are so amazing. Those things I'm not going to get back. I can learn how to make them for myself. I've learned how to make the caramels and the pizzelles so I can make them kind of in his honor. And I've learned that because he's taught me. But him in the world, he's not here. And so I'm a child without that parent relationship anymore. And so that takes a minute to say that now, well, I'm somebody who doesn't have a dad in this world anymore. And so if you've lost your parent, or parents. Some of us call ourselves orphans now. We feel orphaned because they're not here in this world. And so that can be really challenging. And I think when we experience a devastating loss, and if you have truly experienced a loss that you consider to be life-shattering, devastating, I want you to drop a heart below so that other people know. There comes a time where you have to decide, do I keep on going? How do I continue to live my life? How do I continue to live in a world that they're not in anymore? And so that takes a second. After we've survived the shock or that initial loss and that numbness that we feel, and then we sort of see ourselves differently because our sense of identity has shaken. We need to decide like that we're gonna find a way through this. And we might not know what that is. For me, it was being in a support group and seeing someone else and saying like, I don't want to be like that person. Sometimes we learn what we want by what we see that we don't want. Sometimes we learn what we want by what we see that we don't want. And when we decide that we are going to keep moving forward, that we're going to learn how to live with our loss, well, that's a whole nother process. And that's what we do here on my YouTube channel, is we talk about all things helping with that. We think of the one thing or the thing that everyone should know about grief and about learning how to move forward, learning how to live in a world without your loved one in it. I think the one thing that everyone needs to know is that you are worthy. I felt initially after I lost my son that this was my lot in life, that I didn't necessarily deserve to be happy because I lost him, right? I thought that maybe I had done something wrong, or maybe I just didn't deserve to be happy. And so the one thing that I want everyone to know is that you are worthy. You are worthy and deserving of happiness. And just because you lost someone close to you does not mean that the rest of your life has to be one full of sadness, full of tears, full of darkness. Will there be a period of time? Absolutely. None of us can pick ourselves back up off of a loss really quickly and just move on. And if you know anyone like that, I want to challenge that. I want to say maybe they're in avoidance, maybe they're not dealing with it. We are supposed to be sad because we love them. Grief and love go hand to hand. You've heard me say this. The amount of grief that you experience is directly related to the amount of love that you had for the person. But the message that I want to leave you with today is that you are worthy and you are deserving of happiness. You are worthy and you are deserving of happiness. And I want to encourage you and invite you to do what it takes for you and to find out what it takes for you to move through your loss, to move forward, to carry the knowledge and the wisdom and the pain and all of it with you into a new future, so that you can learn how to live with that loss, so that you can know, I am deserving and worthy of being happy, and knowing that by you living your life and learning how to be happy when your loved one is not with you, well, what that is a testament to your loved one. It's a way to honor the life that they didn't get to live. And so I want to invite you to do that today. I want to invite you to know that you are deserving and worthy of happiness. And that is one of the grief-inspired mantras. It's actually the first one, because I think that before you can move forward, you need to know and you need to own for yourself that I am worthy. I'm worthy and deserving of being happy, of dealing with my loss, of learning from my loss, of moving forward, not moving on, but moving forward and doing it in a way that honors my loved one. So that is my messaging for you today. The one thing that everyone should know about grief, and what I want you to hear strongly today, is that you are worthy and deserving of happiness. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, I want to encourage you to jump into the school.com platform that I have, where we deal with one-on-one calls. If you enjoyed this video, I want to encourage you to come over to the school.com platform with me. It's school, SKOOL, and you can find the grief-inspired community over there. Twice a week, we get together to have live Zoom calls where we can talk about all things related to loss. We talk about how to move forward. We talk about our challenges. We talk about our struggles. We talk about what works. We talk about what doesn't work. Come be with other people, be in the conversation, because being in the conversation shows that you believe that you are worthy and deserving of happiness. And we can't wait to meet you. We can't wait to hear your story. And we want you to come in and know that you belong with us. If you are someone who wants to move forward, if you are someone who wants to learn how to live with loss, come see us today.